Welcome to episode 41 of Bad Reviews for Good Books.
Our second attempt at being a video podcast.
Yeah, we tried it last time. I was going to say last week, but it's been like 3 weeks. We tried it last time, and what happened was our computer... Why do I feel the need to give these details? It just didn't work. Our
computer turned off.
And also, I was thinking, last time I had earrings and a little bit of makeup, but I was like, oh, if I wear a t-shirt this time, then people will set their expectations really low.
So then when she appears with makeup, you'll be like, whoa.
Also, this is my Fight the New Drug. Yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. I feel like I've talked about them at least once on the podcast. Here we go. Kicking it. Episode 41. Video will hopefully work.
Yes. So
if you were curious about what we looked like.
Now you know.
Here we are.
Except most of these listeners are friends and family. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I was looking.
Don't be looking.
I'm cheating.
Evie said. Evie. Once again, Jada has no idea what the book is. Yeah. And I've had this ready for probably a week.
No, longer than that.
Longer than a week.
We've been meaning to record for a while. Our kids are back in school.
Yay.
Which is exciting.
We'll have some sort of got to clean our house first, and then we might have some time to do some more potting.
Pottying.
Potting.
We can go to the potty.
Potting.
Okay.
All right. Evie said, "You're telling me that a man who was ill for months after any minor inconvenience happened to just casually went to the Arctic and survived the majority of it?"
To the Arctic.
She skipped a couple of words.
Okay. And added in some that weren't supposed to be there.
Okay.
Wait, who was that, by the way? Did you say?
Evie.
Evie. Oh, that's right. Eva. Oh, it's Eva.
Evie.
I kept saying Evie, but I was thinking about Wally.
Casey said, "I don't even know where to start on how unenjoyable this book was. Literally not a single redeeming quality. This book is written like Mary put words into a sentence generator and typed that. Like she had thesaurus.com open to find the more obscure word that no one in history has ever heard and wrote that. I'd rather put a bullet in my head than ever reread this book."
Oh, wow. These people, it's not that serious.
It's a little dramatic.
It's distressing when people say stuff like that. Let's see. Well, she said Mary.
Mary.
So the author's name is Mary.
Yes.
At first, I thought she was saying Mary Sue.
Ah.
But then I was like, no, I think the author's name is Mary. Is this a book I've read?
No.
This is so difficult when you do this to me. You know that, right?
Yep.
Rude.
Sarah said, "An annoying scientist and an ugly tall man fight over who is more depressed."
An annoying scientist and an ugly tall man. That's apparently a distinguishing feature. Let's see. So I'm guessing it's some kind of science fiction.
Yes. Yeah, I would call it science fiction. Maybe horror.
Is it?
Horror.
Oh, horror.
It's between science fiction and horror.
And you're sure I've heard of this book?
Yes.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
All right. Another Sarah said, "The only notes I wrote down about this while I was reading are as follows. Man creates man. Man runs from responsibility. Created man does crimes. Created man says, I wouldn't do crimes if I had a girlfriend."
Yes, you would. Man creates man.
Man runs from responsibility. Created man does crimes. Created man says, I wouldn't do crimes if I had a girlfriend.
This created man needs therapy. So does the non-created man. I don't know. I feel like I have not heard of this book. Go ahead.
For all of you that aren't watching the video blog, I'm looking.
You said video blog. You just aged yourself. We're doing a video blog. I'm sorry.
I'm 40. Lay off.
Okay, go ahead.
I made a suspicious face at the camera so that you would know what I think about Jada's inability to get it thus far.
He's rude.
So rude.
Yeah.
Carrie said, "Dude creates a monster just because."
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Oh my, no, but people always are confused about this because they think that Frankenstein is the monster. Frankenstein is the doctor that created the monster.
Right, but the monster didn't have a name, so what else are you going to call it?
Frankenstein, obviously. Okay.
Clearly.
Okay.
So Carrie said, dude creates a monster just because and then just leaves? And then everything goes wrong and he's surprised? Pull it together, Victor. WTH. WTH.
Wait, Victor, what's his last name?
Frankenstein.
Oh, no. I thought it's talking about the author for some reason. What's the author's name?
You learned it in the very first, or in the second.
And Mary.
Mary.
I know this. Mary. Don't tell me. Mary. Can you give me the first letter?
S.
Mary Sue.
Mary Shelley.
Oh, Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh.
Frankenstein was written by a woman?
Yep.
I thought it was a man. Frankenstein's really old. Did she go under a pseudonym for a while?
Yeah, she did, because she was worried. Okay, so this talks about it later.
Tell me the story.
No, I can't, because it'll ruin the quote.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no.
All right, so
video
Anne
people could
said,
see I was yawning. I'm not bored, though. I'm having a great time.
This is what Anne said.
Is that Gene Wilder?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
humorous.
He's got the bonkers inside of him.
He's got the bonkers inside of him. Somehow that's less offensive than calling him crazy.
Yeah. Anne says, the only horror in the story centered around me having to keep turning the pages. Shelley proves that she knows nothing about men. So this guy goes on and on in these letters to his sister about how he wishes on every star that he could find a BFF at sea. After a few too many letters, they pull a half-frozen Frankensicle out of the water. And here's what our salty sea dog has to say about the waterlogged mad scientist. His full-toned voice swells in my ears. His lustrous eyes dwell on me with all their melancholy sweetness. Lustrous eyes, no straight sailor ever in the history of the world ever referred to another dude's eyes as lustrous. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Anne, maybe this character was gay. Didn't think about that, did you? Actually, yes. Yes, I did. The only problem with that theory is that none of the male characters in this book sounded remotely male. Ladies, do you remember that time in your life, probably around middle or high school, when you thought that guys actually had the same sort of thought waves running through their heads that we do? You know, before you realize that they really don't care about, well, all of the things that we do. You thought that while they were laughing at the booger their idiot friend just flicked across the room, something deeper was stirring in their mind. It just had to be. I'm not sure when it happens, but at some point, every woman finally realizes the fairly obvious truth. Men aren't women. That booger was the funniest thing ever, and nothing was stirring around them other than maybe some gas. Anyway, Frank tells his story, and Sea Dog writes it all down for his sister in excruciating detail. Now, anytime I see the word excruciating, I want to say excruciating. Yeah. And what was the other word?
Probably.
Yes. There's like, there's words from our podcast that have, what's the word? Changed forever, but there's like a
ruined.
No, it's a fancier way of saying it that I can't think of. In excruciating detail, rivers, flowers, rocks, mountaintops, agonizingly cataloged. And the weather? God forbid a breeze blows through the story without at least a paragraph devoted to the way it felt on his skin or affected his mood. And speaking of Frankenstein's mood, I don't think I've ever had the pleasure of reading about a character this spineless before. And the swooning. He was like one of those freaking fainting goats. I can't even count how many times. I can't even count how many times he blacked out and fell over. Of course, then he would get feverish and need a period of convalescence to recover. Again, every episode was recounted with incredible attention to detail. I'm thrilled that I never had to miss a moment of his sweaty brow getting daubed with water. Here's the quote that sums up my experience with Frankenstein. In all the misery I imagined and dreaded, I did not conceive the 100th part of the anguish I was destined to endure. Okay. Kelly Bridget Hart's review. I did not find one thing I liked in this book, except that Victor finally died in the end, ending my misery of reading his constant whining and fainting.
Snap.
Yeah. If you open up a page in this horrendous book, you will have a 100% chance of Victor whining of what a miserable wretch he and or the daemon is, a 50% chance of Victor being in some kind of a nervous fever or fainting, and a 75% chance of an excessively detailed description of all the trees, mountains, oceans, weather, and worst of all, Victor's thoughts. Oh, what a miserable wretch I am. Death would be pity to me. Never upon this earth had any suffered as much as I had. His suffering literally made me laugh. Just to show you my point, I'm going to open up a random page in the book and jot down a sentence. And then there's nothing there.
That's weird.
You did that to me? Now I'm going to feel...
No, it's probably in there somewhere. It's just like out of order, maybe.
Okay.
Let's pretend that they didn't say that. Unless we get surprised. Althrea said... Frankenstein's immune system folding at slight inconveniences.
Wait, read that one more time.
Frankenstein's immune system folding at slight inconveniences.
Okay.
Apparently it does that. Kelly Bridget. Oh, wait, here's Kelly Bridget.
Okay, you had someone in between. That was very strange.
No, because I order them and then sometimes I'm like, whoops. Oh, yeah, I know why. Okay. Kelly Bridget Hart says... Oh, this is what she said. She opened it up randomly. Here, go ahead and finish that since that's you.
That's so strange. How did it work like that? How did you have one in between?
Because if you put photos in an album, you can arrange the...
You can?
Yep. PSA, people.
Public service announcement.
I had to look that up.
Kelly Bridget Hart's... Sorry, this is the continuance of that sentence. I am a blasted tree. A miserable spectacle of wrecked humanity, pitiable to others and intolerable to myself. Yeah. That was literally in the first page I found. I didn't think it possible for a protagonist to pass out more than 20 times in a single book. If you ever read this book, not suggested, try counting how many times he faints. I bet you somebody's done that. Did you Google it?
No.
I feel like that's something I would have looked up. Oh, and she says... I don't understand why we're supposed to feel any pity whatsoever for the monster who murders people because he has daddy issues. Totally. Why does the monster speak like a 50-year-old professor? Victor's refusal to make the monster a wife. Seriously, Victor, come on. He's giving you a golden ticket from your misery. The reason for Victor's refusal is because he's too scared the monster will go back on his word. Torment humanity, blah, blah, blah. They're two people, and you have guns. Ever heard of a mob? Wait, all right. And if you're so scared that they'll have a bunch of monster babies, you're the creator. Just make her incapable of having children. It's not that hard. Let's get to the Justine trial. A child was strangled to death in the middle of the night. The child possessed a necklace at the time of his death. The necklace wound up in the governess's pocket. Verdict: the governess was the murderer. Wow, that's extra. Have you read Frankenstein?
No, I have no desire.
I have no desire to read it after this.
Basically, everyone said the same thing about him being like a total, my life is horrible. I'm going to faint. And also the landscape, the endless descriptions of the landscape.
Wait, hold on. I was just wondering if Mary Shelley wrote the protagonist as a male because she knew or had a feeling that if it was female, no one would buy it. Do you think? Like people would be like,
was probably,
there's no mad scientists that are women.
Like, women don't do science.
I know.
Please.
Oh, I'm just wondering about that because clearly
They would have believed a crazy woman monster, though. It would have sold better.
I'm curious about why she just wrote this male character that's basically...
Yeah, she's got some sort of sick imagination.
It was before therapy. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know. What year was this published? Do you remember? Did you look that up? Hey Siri, when was Frankenstein published?
Frankenstein or The Modern Prometheus was published in 1818.
1818. Farhan said, here is his reaction when his creature comes to life, in his own words. I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open. It breathed hard. And
you're too dramatic. You're really like it.
And a convulsive motion agitated its limbs. How can I describe my emotions at this catastrophe? Or how delineate the wretch whom with such infinite pains and care I had endeavored to form. His limbs were in proportion, and I had selected his features as beautiful. Beautiful! Great googly moogly. His yellow
great googly moogly. Actually,
no, it says
I was like,
his yellow skin scarcely covered the work of his muscles and arteries beneath. His hair was of lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a pearly whiteness, but these luxuriances only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes that seemed almost of the same color as the dun white sockets in which they were set, his shriveled complexion and straight black lips.
I feel like there's some contradictory stuff going on in there, but apparently Mary loves lustrous and lustrious and all of those things.
Luxuriances. I wish I had some of those luxuriances. Lustrous black hair.
You'd be like, hey guys, welcome to Bad Reviews.
How do you like my luxuriances?
Neither of us has luxurious hair. Luxurious. I said luxurious.
I had worked hard for nearly 2 years. I had deprived myself of rest and health.
Wait, you're not saying it in your special voice, or is this not a quote anymore?
Oh, I guess it is.
I had worked hard for 2 years.
I had worked hard for nearly 2 years. I had deprived myself of rest and health. And now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, after achieving a breakthrough of stupendous proportions in medical science, our good doctor's first reaction is to describe the event as a catastrophe. Instead of talking about his accomplishment, its mechanics, how it can change the future of mankind forever, he describes at great length the physical features of the creature. Wouldn't any scientist be dancing in the streets if he could merely bring back a cockroach to life, let alone a humanoid body? The doctor further tells us, unable to endure the aspect of the being I had created, I rushed out of the room and continued a long time traversing my bed chamber, unable to compose my mind to sleep. Instead of communicating with the creature, studying him, our good doctor wants to sleep.
So, okay, I have an argument against this one. Did you know I was going to or no?
No.
Okay.
Well, I know you love sleep.
Oh, no, I absolutely love sleep. That's not what I was going to talk about, though.
Like any good narcoleptic.
But I'm reading a book right now. Well, and by reading, I mean listening to. You should just assume. It's called, hold on, I got to look up the name.
Do you have guilt associated with it? 'Cause
yes.
Like, I should be reading, but I'm not. I'm listening.
Oh, no. The books, I thought you meant sleeping. I've got sleep.
Oh, yeah. That too.
No, this is called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, PhD. Really good.
I'm just now starting to realize that me and my children feel a lot less depressed when I get enough sleep.
So sleep is huge. I feel like
that should be obvious, right?
It's probably the most underrated medical treatment for people. If you get under, I think he said 6 hours a night, you increase your risk of getting cancer, Alzheimer's, like all of these things. Just not getting enough sleep. It's wild. And he was saying that in the beginning, for years and years and years, we knew what all the other basic functions, like eating, drinking, sex, like what the purpose of those were. And for years and years and years, people were just like, sleep. It doesn't make sense,
Right. It's like, what is it?
like a third of your life, you just spend, in this coma-like state or whatever. And now they're just learning more about it. There's a lot more we're going to find out. But anyway, like sleep really is crucial to our health. Frontier. I mean, our mental health and our physical health. It's so important. I think we don't talk about that enough because in America, well, and I don't know about other countries, but I know in America, we're very like go, like grind culture. And you should feel bad if you need to get 8 hours a night, or that's a sign of weakness or something. We definitely do not promote a healthy sleep
habit.
Yeah. Sleep habit relationship. Yeah. I'm going to need to relook at this because I forget what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't going to talk about sleep. I was going to talk about.
But just so we put our money where our mouth is, we just got up from a nap.
We took a couple's nap as our kids are at school.
It was nice.
It was super nice. I nap every
day.
It
really was a nap.
For him. Yeah. For
him? Wait a minute.
I thought, because I was like, I slept longer than I should have. I thought this is clearly I still have issues.
This is the guilt manifest.
I slept for like an hour.
And
he slept for 20
gutter
minutes.
Mind manifesting.
Wow. All right. I don't know if I should cut that out or not.
No. Just subtle enough that the children will be like, what are they talking about?
All right. Well, what I was going to say is that, they're all upset that he's not acting like a scientist, but I'm like, he clearly has a lot of severe emotional mental health
we don't
stuff.
Think about that.
Yeah. And so she's talking about if he was a scientist, and I'm like, he's not in the right frame of mind, and so yes, he's a scientist, but he's also mentally unwell. And so
seriously,
and so I hear that and I'm just like, well, clearly he's the one that's got daddy issues. So because he's got all these problems and now he's hyper focusing on whatever's wrong with Frankenstein, like this actually makes perfect sense to me when she's like, and then he's not. And I'm like, it could
makes
happen.
Sense to you that he's like, oh, it didn't work out. He's alive, but I hate it. And I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, to an extent.
Like that's how I
because
my problem.
Because I am. I'm just like, I'm upset. I'm going to take a nap. Naps fix everything. Can we talk about that for a minute? Okay, so maybe that reaction is a bit extreme. But what I am saying is that I've struggled with mental health stuff, my whole life. Sometimes when you're in a certain frame of mind, you just don't think logically. Apparently, Mary Shelley has chronicled every thought. So we probably should know the state that his mind is in. But generally speaking, I think it's not appropriate to judge someone's actions when we don't have the full story, which I guess in this you do because it's a book. But
yeah, no, but I was thinking like if he went to all that trouble to make him specifically beautiful.
Yeah.
Why are you making yourself a blow up doll? Okay.
I feel bad. Bad for Frank. He sounds very, very sad.
I need a friend. I need him to be beautiful. And he wakes up and he's like, those eyes are creepy. I cannot be friends
They're
with
watery.
this person.
It ruins everything else.
Or whatever he was looking for.
Well, what's funny is that it's watery eyes is the worst thing he can
think. Watery eyes and his skin is too tight. I don't remember making his skin so tight.
I know. So
he dug up body parts from like graves to make it.
Oh, actually? See, I didn't know that. I thought he just like created...
Are you going to create? Oh, like
I don't know because
cyborg
Mary Shelley. Okay,
Mary Shelley.
That's why
he grew his own fetus.
Oh, okay. Nope, that is not. I did not say he was growing it from the beginning. That's not what I said. As you were.
Where were we here? Once the doctor retires to his bedroom, the creature runs away. Yes, thank you.
Wait, I'm picturing it like the Kermit the Frog when his arms are like. Have you seen that GIF?
Yeah. Well, like in the movies, it's so different than the book. Because in the movies, they're all like...
Oh, yeah.
Which seems more realistic to me.
Than him just being like...
Throughout the book, the doctor refers to this unnamed creature as a fiend, a brute, an animal, the devil, a wretch, and we don't know why. I mean, within months of his creation, the creature is reading Greek historians such as Plutarch and writing critiques of such works as John Milton's Paradise Lost, and he is considered an animal. Why? Why? That's no reason is ever given except that the monster doesn't look like Brad Pitt or George Clooney. Maybe Dr. Frankenstein should have been a cosmetic surgeon?
Oh, maybe. Because he could just be like, I'm just going to put lips on you from this person. Creepy.
The population of Geneva...
Oh, wait, no, I just felt so uncomfortable just then. You just kept reading.
Well, it happens more than you think, because like no, it's because I'm always thinking about something else, and then you say something that doesn't register at all.
Yeah,
and you're like, it wasn't funny. It could have been funny. I just wasn't listening.
I just have ADHD. All right.
How many times have we said that in our podcast? Do you guys believe us yet?
I don't know, but now that we have it on video, I'm curious to see if I can see the light go out of your eyes like the second it happens that you're stop listening.
The population of Geneva, circa 1780, was around 20,000, and our creature comes across a child who happens to be his creator's little brother. And on top of that,
actually? Really?
Yeah. After he accidentally strangles the child, he roams around, enters a barn where, again by pure chance, he encounters the child's governess, who happens to be sleeping in that very barn. In the morning, the governess is caught with a necklace and sentenced to die. I mean, here's someone who raised the child, had ample opportunity to steal whatever she wanted, but she decided to one day strangle the child in a public park, hide his body, keep the necklace in her pocket, and then let herself be caught in the morning.
Oof.
I'm glad that Mary Shelley never decided to write a legal thriller.
Like, that does not check out.
The author was supposedly 18 or 19 when she wrote this book, and it shows on every page.
Was she? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that she was able to get published in 1818. I thought that was still... Women were not...
Yeah, you're going to find out.
Oh, okay.
Why she was published.
Yeah.
It's called suspense. Not counting the monster, there is only one wicked character in the book who happens to be a Muslim Turk.
Oh, wow.
Whoops.
Yeah, but 1818. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm just saying.
Shelley is not only a terrible author, she is also an ignorant and prejudiced one. Her novel, hailed as a classic for 2 centuries, is infantile dross and lacks any imagination or creativity. Mary Shelley was the Stephanie Meyer of her generation. Oops. Yep.
Somebody finally said it. Just kidding. All right, this is Hank. It's like Hank, but Hank. With an A, it's Hank. Frankenstein lets his monster escape for like 1.5 years. And no, in that whole time, he does not inform the authorities. No, does he tell any of his relatives. No, does he not prepare in any manner. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're laughing at this poor person's lack of English knowledge.
It's supposed to be nor, but actually, as I was reading, I was thinking it could be like, and no, in that whole time, he does not inform the authorities. No, he does not tell any of his relatives. No, he does not, but I was reading it like no, as if it's nor. Our Dr. Frankenstein thinks his own sorrow, guilt, and reputation is more profound and important than the death of an innocent bystander, a longtime family friend that he just let die in a trial because he doesn't dare to step forward. What about the nephew? He's all concerned about the governess.
Well, the nephew already died and it was done, but then he could have prevented the governess from dying. But he's like,
oh, they killed her?
Yeah, they killed her.
Oh, I thought it said for some reason she went to prison.
Oh, no, I think I thought
maybe like
she died.
Maybe in my head, I was just like,
they executed her.
She went to prison.
You can't kill a baby in 1818 without dying.
True. That's true. After that, we have our Victor Frankenstein staying a month long in London without spending the time useful on solving the mess he got himself. No, he's just in a depressive mood, whining. This lack of
punctuation.
Yes.
You're like, what do you call that thing?
Lack of punctuation is throwing me off. And when he gets to the Orkney Islands after a year, he just changes his mind, gets into jail, marries his adopted cousin, and still doesn't do anything to deter his monster on preying on his loved ones. Literally everyone talks in the same solemn way, including the 1.5-year-old animated corpse. What? What? The baby comes back?
No, he's talking about Frankenstein.
Oh.
The baby comes back to life. Whoa. Plot twist.
That's what I was going to say. The Lit B Words review says, like, how bad do you have to be like, I'm going to go on Goodreads and name myself the Lit B?
You have to be pretty bad.
Hilarious. All we really know is that Victor just liked chemistry. Okay, great. All of a sudden, he made this monster. So many questions about why no one seemed to notice and where he got body parts for this kind of thing. I'm assuming he needed body parts. And then the monster comes alive against questions about how this happens. And all of a sudden, he's loose. Instead of being like, oh, I let a monster loose. I better tell someone. Victor's like, maybe if I ignore it, it will go away. Then it starts murdering people, and Victor says nothing and lets a village girl take the fall for a murder. Sure, he feels bad and all, but at the end of the day, he's not willing to step up and be like, hey guys, I created a murder monster here. Sorry. But again, he's not sane.
He's clearly.
So
lay off Frankenstein.
No, I'm just saying
he's got histrionic disorder. What do you call that?
No, that's he's not
you have
that.
To be the center
that's a
of
flair for the dramatic. He would be like, I created a murder monster. Love me. This is Amy. This book made me want to go commit die. However, I do stand Miss Mary. She was a bad wench.
Yeah, I probably put that in there because I did not understand it.
Yeah, she
was a bad
You know
wench.
what, when I read this, I was feeling like there's some kind of code we need to unravel.
What?
Like maybe every other, because she says, Stan, Miss Mary, Mary Stu. I don't know why I thought there was a code there.
You work on that code while I read.
Oh, also her name's not just Amy. It's Amy star-eyed emoji. Amy. Ah. This is Chris. Instead of a terrifying horror tale about the artificial creation of life, it's above all a dull travelogue. Shelley used the word sublime 5 times over 3 pages. She must have been thrilled by its sudden discovery. Where were her editors? Even worse, the several laughably absurd characters about the cottagers, where the fiend, Damon, or monster receives his surreptitious education, can be completely omitted in favor of a stylistically appropriate single sentence, something to the effect of, the monster holed up secretly in a hovel for several years, eavesdropping on a poor cottage family, while they taught an unlikely foreign visitor with an irrelevant background, nevertheless painstakingly described by Shelley, the local language, European history and philosophy, thus conveniently absorbing it himself. All the while the fiend was never discovered, even though he lived opposite a common wall full of peoples, and in the meantime becoming vicarious through unrequited friends with the cottagers, although they never met. This in spite of the fact that the daemon cut and stacked sublime mountains of firewood at the cottage doorstep, along with wild game he hunted, for hundreds of nights unless it was raining, arousing no suspicion on the part of the humans, who never once thought to examine their adjacent room, and at long last, when they did meet, they were unsurprisingly horrified, thus appropriately and expectedly fainting, with the elderly father thankfully dying to obviate his further human torment at just the sight of such a beast. The first reaction of each character here to emotional stress is to weep. As the hurt increases from slight to deadly, the tears are released ever more gushingly, and for some reason the male characters are the wateriest of all, prolonging their incontinent suffering for many weeks.
Incontinent
That's
suffering.
hilarious. I cry a lot.
Simon says, classic literature equals modern trash. I don't disagree.
Yeah, that's a legitimate argument.
Kier, or K-I-R, said, features too much arrogant, whiny man baby. Sorry. Features too much arrogant, whiny man baby. I don't know why the word man baby.
Man baby! Man, this is man baby there.
Just funny. I'm the one who wrote this and highlighted that. So
say it one more time.
Features too much arrogant, whiny man baby.
I want to see you get through without laughing, and you couldn't. That's excellent.
Excellent. And there's like a dog? What is that?
What? Looks like an otter.
Oh, it is. I thought that was like a really scary dog with a crown, but it's the otter's face.
I was gonna say that's the power of language, though, is that you could read.
I can show people now.
Wait, you can read two words together, man baby, and it could just brighten your whole world like that. Isn't that amazing?
I think it was the hyphen. The hyphen.
It was man dash baby, a man baby.
Worth it. Okay, wait here.
That's definitely an otter.
Okay, here we go. Now you can see. Wait, is that gonna?
The lighting's funny. Hold on, it should change. Put it down a little. Yeah, there we go.
That
a cute otter.
Sure, you can see that it's an otter now. Theodore said, at the age of 17, Victor studies for 2 years. He then gets started on the monster. It takes 2 long years to complete.
Oh, he's young?
He's young. 17. Huh.
Well, he completes it by 19, right? He's saying it takes him 2 years to complete.
Yeah.
I thought
no, he studies for 2 years, and then it takes 2 years to complete. So he's like...
You're that lonely at 17?
That's so sad.
That's
that means
really
Shelley
sad.
Was that lonely.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
And she was like 18 and 19.
Mm-hmm. Super sad.
After he gives it life, it becomes ugly. Not really a surprise.
Wait. I just realized. Did he not realize it was ugly before it came to life?
No, he's like, I tried to make it pretty. But then it came to life and it wasn't pretty.
That doesn't make sense. That actually doesn't make any sense. He's like, it's beautiful. And then it's like, opens its watery eyes and he's like, ah!
You know? It's kind of like when you see someone from afar without your glass, you'd be like, that person's hot. And then you get real close.
Do you do that?
All the time. And then you're like, ah. Or sometimes it's the opposite. You're like, that person's okay. And then you get real close and they're like, oh, okay, you have a really nice complexion.
People do that with me. What's funny is growing up, I was relatively thin, but I've always had a really small head. So people would be like, your face is so beautiful. And I'm just like, you're going to be that person. Right? Like your face is beautiful, but your body, not so much.
And that's why people like think it's okay to call you pregnant because your face is so thin. So
it hasn't happened recently because I'm like pretty fat now. So they're like, no, she's clearly just fat. But when I was like a little bit fat, people would be like, they'd see my face and then they'd be like, when's the baby due? I'm like, the baby's fat. Okay, the baby's not due. Or I would just like make up a date and they're just like in their head, that doesn't check out. I'm like, because there's no baby growing in there.
Doesn't check
Which is really wild because I had 5 kids like pretty close together. So, and I had got comments in between this small areas where I was not actually pregnant. Like, right? You've got to be special to get that in there. I'm just like, it's because I'm special.
You're very special.
I'm a special lady.
Okay. But after he gives it life, it becomes ugly, not really a surprise, considering he made it 8 feet tall and all its body parts were distorted when he found him.
Oof, 8 feet tall, that would be scary.
Yeah. There are no words to describe how ugly the monster was, and no words could ever describe how horrible this load of crap was. How it has survived 200 years, I will never know. I hate you, Mary Shelley!
Mary Shelley doesn't care. Gosh darn it, 250 pages from hell. Highly recommend for teachers who want to punish their stupid students and take the test orally so that the victims can't escape the horror. Do teachers do oral tests?
All the time.
What? Like anything other than spelling?
Yeah.
Did you take oral tests?
Probably.
Maybe they do that in other countries.
I think they do that if they don't want people to cheat.
Interesting.
I don't know how
this
that
is Ian Hiatus's review. Only reason I didn't give it negative stars is because I haven't figured out how to, and I have to go do sports. Well, he's never going to figure that out, but I would kind of like to see him try when he's not playing sports.
Yeah, who says they're going to go do sports?
It's like the baseball mom.
Clearly he's making it up.
I got to go do sports
I got to do weights.
He's like, I got to go do sports, and then he takes out his book and he's like, they'll never know.
Valerie said.
Valerie,
I thought I couldn't dislike a book as much as I did Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah, we did. We had a whole discussion about that. In case you haven't listened, it's episode something earlier.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Valerie. I have never sighed in exasperation as many times in my almost 26 years of life as I did in the 8 months that it took us to read this book.
Wow, why did you keep going? 8 months is a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Also, what's a sigh of exasperation sound like?
I think all the sighs sound the same.
I'd like to have a compilation of her exasperation sighs.
Yeah, I would definitely watch that.
You could make a song out of it, probably.
Mm-hmm.
You could, what's it called when you do like the roboticized?
Auto-tuning?
Yeah, you could auto-tune.
Yeah, see, I'm not uncool. I don't know what a vlog is, but you didn't know what auto-tuning was.
I knew what it was, I just couldn't think of the word.
Mm-hmm.
Still required, oh yeah, some talent still required.
That's why I was explaining it.
All I'm saying is that you're almost 40.
Yeah, I am. I'm getting there. Get close.
If you really love this book, maybe don't read what I'm about to write because I have a lot of anger in me and I need and I need to let it out. I apologize in advance because there will be a lot of swearing.
Oh boy. All right. Let's go.
If I had to summarize politely so as not to start this off in a rage, it's about a man playing God.
Wait, why does she not feel like she can start it off in a rage?
Because there's going to be...
Do your thing, Valerie.
I think this one was the one that's like several pages long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like her dissertation.
Let's go.
It's about a man playing God. Instead of being responsible for his child, he rejects him because he's too ugly and scary. You know when you're a teenage writer just starting out your first novel and you feel like you need to prove you're smart and have a wide vocabulary, you want to sound grown up, so you use all the most formal words you've ever read and the most poetic structure you can come up with, even though it makes you sound like a total arse? That's how this book is written. There were a lot of sentences that I downright didn't understand. Like, do you think that I was then dead to agony and remorse? He continued, pointing to the corpse, he suffered not in the consummation of the deed. Also, she uses the word countenance a million times. We get it. You like the word, but dang, Mary, use synonyms. It won't kill you.
Well, you know what's funny, though, is I was listening closely to that sentence and it made perfect sense to me. So I was like, that's on you, Valerie. Like, if you don't get that.
I didn't understand it.
That's
Do
not
you
Mary.
think that I was then dead to agony and remorse? When? What? Dead to agony and remorse?
Yeah.
He continued, pointing to the corpse.
He continued, pointing to the corpse.
Yeah.
You're reading it in a weird way. You're not reading it in the way that it's supposed to sound.
She like bolded he.
Okay.
All right, Jada's smarter than me.
No, I'm just saying, like, 1818, what does she think? Again, it's viewing it from 2022
Valerie,
eyes.
You're such a jerk, Valerie.
No, I mean, she's valid, but it's just like, she's talking about how stupid Mary Shelley is, and I was like, you're showing your colors, sis. You know what I mean? You just got to, I'm just saying, we got to look at things with a proper perspective. Right?
Right.
Okay. I had to put that out there because I understood that sentence.
Put it out there.
And I'm not particularly smart. So you
So-
just said,
No.
You agreed that I was not particularly smart. I have that on video.
Take a look at my eyes and you'll see them
You'll see like 30 seconds before. It goes like,
That's my shut up. I'm going to say something.
Ooh, okay.
What I was going to say was, hey, Lance. That's my brother. He
Hi,
just
Lance.
started listening. It's about time. I just want to say, I love you. Huh? He's a good guy. There's so many extremely detailed descriptions of completely irrelevant things, like the entire dang frame of the story, which is a never-ending string of letters written by some random guy on a boat to his sister. This guy literally tells his whole life story to explain why he's out at sea in the Arctic, as if the reader actually gives a crap. We don't need to know everything about this guy's emotional problems, man. Just tell us he's on an expedition, and that's it. Gah!
But is the book, it's only like 250 pages?
It's pretty short.
That's actually not as long as I thought it would be. Especially for 1818. They were much more long-winded back then.
Now I'll spend some time cursing at the main character because I seriously flipping hate him. For starters, he's an inconsistent character. I mean, he digs up a dead body from the cemetery without hesitation, but then when he revives the corpse, he gets scared, poopless, and literally runs away to a different room, hoping the monster won't still be in there in the morning. What the flip kind of scientist is he?
Yeah, what did he think would happen?
And then we have the never-ending whining. Ah, we get it. You're sad. No one in this entire planet has ever suffered as much as you. You brought this crap on yourself. It wasn't your fault that he turned out to be a murderer. No, it obviously had nothing to do with how you treated him in his first moments of life. Please.
Trauma, right? Yeah.
Alas, how you must have suffered. You must go lie down. You must rest. You must stay in bed for months to recover the energy this wretch has made you lose from the nerves.
Aww. That's
and
harsh.
later on, he has the audacity to present himself as some sort of macho who's after revenge, even though he's been cowardice incarnate during the entire flipping book.
Cowardice incarnate.
Plus, he just decides to take revenge after the monster's already killed everyone he loves. Talk about procrastination.
Oh man, no kidding.
It's like, I'm going to wait. Yeah, everyone's dead now.
Yeah,
I'm going to go get revenge.
there's so many plot problems, obviously. I haven't read the book, but from what these people are saying.
When Victor goes out to the sea to dispose of the body he had once intended to use to build a bride for the monster.
Whose body is that?
I don't know. He started to make a girlfriend for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
After throwing the body, he falls asleep on the boat and drifts away with the current. Who the flip lets himself fall asleep in the middle of the sea?
I'm beginning to think he might have narcolepsy. He's
Maybe.
unwell.
And he keeps fainting like one of those goats.
Oh, right?
He told...
The mystery is solved! He's narcoleptic!
Mind blown.
Wow, okay. That
Any
changes
dummy
everything.
would know the current would drag him further into it. And of course, the town he happened to land in is where the monster coincidentally left the body of Clerval, his best friend.
Clerval.
Clerval. I love that name.
Yeah,
Clerval.
That reminds me of...
Clerval!
There was this sweet elderly lady who lived in Ryan's town when we got married. Is she still alive?
Who?
Clovis.
No, she died a while ago.
Oh, her name's Clovis, which I think is so
She gave
fun.
us a $12 check for
$6.
a $6 check for our wedding.
$6 check.
That's like the widow's mite. Sorry. But we did laugh quite a bit.
Even back in 2006, a $6 check.
She probably had $7 in her bank account. She's like, I'll give them $6. I need $1 in case of overdraft.
It was just so sweet because we were like, oh, a check. And we're like, for $6.
And this wasn't in 1818.
Yeah.
$6 was a tidy sum.
And it's so funny. I mean, that was 16 years ago, and I will never forget that we got a $6 check from Clovis.
They called her Grandma Rag, which was kind of rude.
Why would they call her that?
Because she was kind of grumpy sometimes, I guess.
That's so offensive.
So offensive on so
Wow.
many levels.
I mean, if you guys don't know what,
Because we definitely just
Rag
didn't make
is-
fun of a dead lady.
it's fine.
We did not.
We made fun of an experience we had, which is different.
An experience we had that she gave us in the form of a check for $6 in
I
case
know,
you
this
missed
is what
that.
life is made up of. Beautiful memories of $6 checks at your wedding.
If we're going to be bashing old people, let's talk about Martha.
Oh, poor
Maybe
Martha.
not. We lived with a lady. I think we talked about her before.
Have we?
Yeah, because she was the one that was putting her little spinny thing over her food to see if
we talked about that.
That was Martha. We made fun of her enough. She's also passed on. We really like to make fun of old people. I think that's something that says something about
Karma's
us.
going to come back and smack us in the butt real hard. People
Yeah,
going to be making fun of us when we're old. It's fine.
Cool.
People already make fun of me, so we're good.
Right.
Yeah.
And the end of the book, it's literally Carmen Sandiego, the video game, where the criminal leaves clues for the police to follow around the world. The monster seriously leaves clues for Victor. It's cat and mouse at the end for no logical reason. And then they both die, but not killed by one another, as would be interesting. Nope. One dies of illness. Guess who?
Oh, definitely the monster.
And the other kills himself because he has no purpose anymore. The end. Meh. I'm just glad Victor died. The monster deserved better. A name for starters.
Yeah, seriously. I did think about that. That's not right. He's like, you're ugly. You don't deserve a name.
A name
Can you
for
imagine?
starters. What did she call him the whole time through? Like
It
the
says
monster?
like fiend, monster. Remember it had all those words that she used, Mary Shelley. Okay, this is Catherine. Catherine says, Frankenstein, how I detest you. I know, it's a classic. I hear you shouting at me. How could you not like it? My least favorite parts of the novel are the characters, especially Victor Frankenstein. Firstly, he gets this idea into his head that he's going to bring another being to life. Why does this seem like a good idea to him? Well, because he's ambitious, he's proud, and he's power hungry too. He just needs someone to love him. That's what I think.
Yeah.
He wants to create a new race that will love him more than any son could love a father, or words to that effect.
Oh my gosh, that's totally it.
Right?
He needs love.
We've got his number.
What the?
Even if you have little to no knowledge about the plot of Frankenstein, unlikely, thanks to all the awful movie adaptations, you know this is going to be a bad idea. Aside from the foreshadow all over the place, you just know. But Frankenstein goes to graveyards and collects dead body parts so he can construct a man out of it, who he can then bring to life. And then he's surprised when the creation is ugly. You made the body out of corpses. He's hardly going to be the prettiest bauble in the box, is he? Let's be honest. That was always going to happen. And then, because of the time period, and maybe because Mary Shelley wanted to criticize the romantic movement that her husband was a part of, which glorifies beauty, and who wouldn't, especially as she wrote the novel while staying with Shelley and Byron, for goodness sake, she makes Frankie abandon the monster just because of his ugliness, as though that really means anything at all. People would pity me, but I just blame myself. No, Frankenstein, people don't pity you. They blame you because it's your fault. Shelley can't write for toffee. But what's so funny about that is you had edited it, and because this is just a line, it's like all big. Okay, now this is just not helpful. Oh man, this ruined everything. I ruined it. Here we go. It got like bigger and bigger until it was like, Shelley can't write for toffee. It was just kind of funny.
Obsidian said, I don't even know how to begin. First of all, this book starts off at a weird place. A Captain Robert Walton is in St. Petersburg, Russia, and writes his sister how lonely for someone to talk to he is. I mean, maybe don't go to Russia looking for people to talk to. I don't know. He then spies Victor Frankenstein, and now all of his dreams have been answered. Can I just say the whole Frankenstein family was freaking weird? At one point I said, wait, why is he talking about his sister like she was his fiancée?
Yeah.
I finally figured out that Victor's parents adopted a little girl named Elizabeth that Victor promptly falls in love with, though they were raised as brother and sister.
Ugh.
Oh, so here's some stuff.
Does this talk about Mary Shelley?
Yeah.
Because I want to know so much more about her
that's
life.
Such a coincidence because
You have stuff.
the next one is a New Yorker article about her.
Oh my goodness. Meant to be. Mary Wollstonecraft Goodwin Shelley began writing Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus, when she was 18 years old, 2 years after she'd become pregnant with her first child, a baby she did not name. Actually,
So sad.
Nurse the baby, read. She had written in her diary day after day until the 11th day. I awoke in the night to give it suck. It appeared to be sleeping so quietly that I would not awake it. And then in the morning, find my baby dead. Oh my goodness, she has PTSD. This is awful.
So sad.
Pregnant again only weeks later, she was likely still nursing her second baby when she started writing Frankenstein, and pregnant with her third by the time she finished. She didn't put her name on the book. She published Frankenstein anonymously in 1818, not least out of a concern that she might lose custody of her children, and she didn't give her monster a name either. This anonymous androdaemon...
Androdaemon.
I've never heard that word before. This anonymous androdaemon, one reviewer called it, for the first theatrical production of Frankenstein, staged in London in 1823, by which time the author had given birth to 4 children, buried 3, and lost another unnamed baby to a miscarriage, so severe that she nearly died of bleeding. That stopped only when her husband had her sit on ice. What? Okay, this is like trauma after trauma.
Seriously.
The monster was listed on the playbill as it's just
Blank.
a line. Yeah. Wow. That is so sad.
She was worried that she was going to lose custody of her kids because of her horror novel. They're like, She is deranged. Let's take her children.
I feel so reading that. I'm struck. I'm struck with this idea that I really do believe authors kind of put a lot of their life's experiences and personalities into the books that they write.
Yep.
But after hearing some of the things she wrote in her book and then hearing her life story, I think she was trying to process her trauma and it was not going well. Because they didn't, in 1818, they just did not have the language that we have now for a lot of the mental health stuff. I mean, even now, we're still learning so much, but that actually makes me super, super sad for Mary Shelley.
They were evil spirits. Like he has an evil spirit. It's like, actually,
like if someone was depressed or something. Yeah. In the Bible, I think a lot of those people were not possessed. I think they had depression or some kind of you know what I mean?
Well, something went into those pigs.
Okay. Well, I said a lot of them. I didn't say all. Anyway, neither here nor there. This is Brandy. Oh, I'm like so sad now for Mary Shelley.
So sad.
It makes me real. She had so much trauma.
Now, don't you feel so guilty about making fun of her writing?
No, I'm just kidding. No. I mean, they say that pain you either transmit or transmute. So she
transmuted her
She was
pain.
trying to transmute it into a book, but I don't know how successful that was. It just sounds really terrible. It sounds like she was not well. All right, this is Brandy. The monster hides out. And how are you going to have me read that and then go on to read these other reviews? Oh, I'm heartbroken for Mary Shelley. My heart is bleeding.
Here, I'll tell a joke.
Okay.
What did...
No, it's just not going to be good.
What did one breast say to the other breast?
No, that is not appropriate for this podcast.
We better get some support soon or people are going to think we're nuts. That's my favorite joke of all time.
I can't include. I told you that.
You have to include that. It's the best joke ever.
It's not.
And I said breast instead of boobs, so it's totally legit.
And then you said nuts. You said nuts. That's better.
Because they're talking about being crazy. If you intuited something else, then that's on you.
Well, the origin behind that joke is that there was one day we were driving with the kids. And I mean, this was pretty recent, I'd say within the past couple of years. And I just all of a sudden out of nowhere, I remember that when I was 11 or 12 or something, someone told me this joke and I was kind of chuckling to myself. And the kids are I was like, hey, I just remembered this really inappropriate joke.
And she tells our children, all of our children.
And now they tell people the joke, which is worse.
And she's but we can't do it on our podcast because our podcast has been very squeaky clean.
Oh yeah, we're high class on here. Obviously, we don't talk about breasts.
Apologies to anyone who's offended by the word breasts.
Yeah, but did they hear the whole joke? You told the whole joke?
Yeah.
Because my face was hidden, so somehow that affected my hearing. I don't know.
I would like you to tell the cheese explosion joke and see if you get it right this time.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Got to think about it.
I know.
You told it once before on the podcast.
Yeah, and I failed.
Yeah, you did.
I'm scared. I don't want to do it.
Hard.
Okay. Hey, Ryan.
What?
Did you hear about the explosion at the cheese factory downtown?
No, what happened?
Debris was everywhere. I had to think about it.
You did it.
I almost said the debris was everywhere.
Debris.
It ruins it because there's this pause. Debris was everywhere. I did it.
It's not that funny of a joke, but okay.
I think it's hilarious. Wait,
I don't know why you felt you had to say it again.
You told me.
Just kidding.
Guy, what happened to you?
Wait, what? You were going to say something? What?
I don't remember.
Oh, good. Just kidding. The monster hides out in a hovel and spies on a kindly family who just so happens to get a visitor that they begin to teach their language and history and politics and geography. And this not even 1-year-old monster with no previous human contact, save people screaming and running from the merest sight of him, learns French over the course of his spring, summer, and fall. But then he abruptly reveals himself to the family, and they scream their kindly heads off at the sight of such an ugly, terrifying mug, and they run away forever. They don't even come back home.
How do we know for sure?
But now he's found V. Frankenstein somehow, and he's asked his wicked deadbeat daddy to build him a woman. So maybe it's about to get really interesting. Nope! Shelley managed to choose the least interesting route every step of the way.
I'm having this really sad image for when you're reading that of him being knocking on the door and then being hello.
I've been the one giving you fire.
And then they're like, we're never going back.
And he's like, I'll just live here, I guess.
I know. The passersby says, oof, this was boring Philoso-fi. Philosophy.
It took me a while to get that. Philosophy, like sci-fi, except philosophy.
Oh, I thought they're just trying to be cutesy.
No, I literally read that like 3 times.
Philosophy.
Like, oh,
Sci-fi. Okay. And nonsensical. Why is the guy who can animate the dead afraid of his loved ones being killed? Just reanimate them, dude. Problem solved. Oh, no one made that point before. 5 months after I wrote this review, I ran across an interpretation that the monster wasn't real, that it was Frankenstein himself who killed those people and made up the rest. If I ever hit my head so hard that I think about rereading this book, hopefully I'll at least remember to read it through that lens to see if it checks out.
Interesting. Yeah. So if you're going to read
like
Frankenstein, even after we spoiled everything for you,
just pretend
read it with the lens of Frankenstein not existing.
I actually really like that. That's kind of a fascinating thing, way to think of it. Michelle says, book had stickers all over it. Didn't expect it to receive it like that. Didn't expect it to receive it like that.
You didn't expect to receive the book with stickers all over?
I mean, this is silly. Noah's Ark CC. Noah's Ark carbon copy? Like, what's the CC stand for, do you think?
I don't know.
Do not purchase pirated copy!
I put that in there because, okay, it's public domain.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So how is it pirated?
There's no way to pirate it.
But she was on Noah's Ark, so she probably is just totally she has no sense of reality at this point.
This is like 12.
This is hilarious.
BC.
You should read this one.
Sophie Hart Taylor's version said, "They were gay, Your Honor."
Case rested.
Your Honor.
That's her case just presented.
I guess that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she meant the doctor and his monster, which
Yeah, that's what I figured too.
Amazon customer said, "Sorry, I couldn't seem to open it. I will try to order it again next year."
I have so many questions about this. Okay. Just don't order it again, please.
Why is she going to wait a year to try again?
I don't know.
Like, I use my $12 that I get every year.
Stop! It was $6. Anyway, that must be like a Kindle version or something, right?
Well, if she can't open a book,
I know she's like,
I'll buy another one.
I'll try again next year.
This book's broken.
After the glue has deteriorated a little or something.
Oh, that's it.
All right. Okay.
And we end by making fun of old people.
You ended by making fun of old people.
Well, I wasn't actually making fun of Clovis, but you brought it back up by the $6.
Thanks for coming to Bad Reviews for Good Books.